Hey guys, this is Andrew with High Level Reviews, and today I'd like to take a look at Dragon Quest VIII. The game was developed by Level 5, who at the time were responsible for the Dark Cloud series and known for excellent cel-shaded graphics and inventive gameplay mechanics, and published by Square Enix and released in North America on November 15, 2005 on the PlayStation 2. It was also released in PAL regions in 2006, making it the first mainstream installment in those areas. It was the first game to adopt fully 3D environments and character models in the series. The superb quality and distinct style of these models, done by Akira Toriyama, famed Dragon Ball creator, is backed by sturdy and near flawless systems and storytelling. Though the game does little to avoid genre cliches and conventions, it does present a perfect representation of them. There is a certain refinement in the working parts, reminding the player where the soul of these tropes came from. Its battle system is about as accessible as it gets while also gradually revealing its intricacies. It has plenty of minor diversions in the form of gambling, crafting, monster collecting, and a narrative full of puns, self-aware jabs, and a plot that unearths its secrets like a great novel with levity throughout. The Dragon Quest series, called Dragon Warrior in North America until 2005 when this game was released, is an influential one and enjoys great success in both Japan and North America, though considerably more so in Japan. The game, along with Final Fantasy, helped to define the JRPG genre. Dragon Quest did, after all, essentially invent turn-based combat as most gamers now know it. It also introduced tons of ideas now often considered to be such a core part of the RPG experience. The series creator, Yuji Horii, who we can also thank for having a large hand in Chrono Trigger and creating the first visual novel adventure game for Topia's serial murder case, which would eventually inspire Hideo Kojima to get involved in the video gaming industry, has stated in multiple interviews that the Dragon Quest series, if distilled, is about simplicity and fun. And though I'd contend that this terse description doesn't do the game justice, he is right. While Dragon Quest can be more complex than most perceive it to be, it is always a blast. The game starts with a court jester named Dulmagus transmuting the king of Trodain, named Trode, and his daughter Medea into a troll and a horse respectively, and the rest of the castle's inhabitants into plants. The only one spared from this curse is the unnamed protagonist, a Trodain guard, also known as the Hero. The three set out on a journey to locate and eradicate Dulmagus to presumably break the curse. They are accompanied by Yangus, a bandit who owes his life to the Hero, who Yangus calls Gov, and also attributes his overcoming thievery and delinquency to. Jessica, a skilled mage and fighter that seeks revenge for her brother's death, and finally Angelo, a Templar knight that frequently disgraces the order with his gambling and licentious behavior. The rest of the game is spent hunting Dulmagus and determining the exact nature of the curse and the actual source of it. Dragon Quest VIII makes no attempt to bewilder, or burden, depending on your slant, the player with recondite philosophical concepts or try to sell the idea of one all-powerful person saving the world. It instead emphasizes a togetherness and team, not only in the narrative, but it also maintains that theme in its combat system. While the main character is the best all-around statistically, each teammate offers valuable services and will shine at different points of the game, of course depending on how you skill them, which again incentivizes a reliance on every member, further accentuating the theme of solidarity and adventure, as corny as it may sound to some. While the tale incorporates hilarious puns and perfectly timed comedic relief, it nonetheless introduces just the right amount of melodrama when addressing death and loss. Though deaths aren't felt as powerfully as in other RPG juggernauts, these are still pivotal moments that continually stress the importance of the group's quest and update the player to the potency of the game's antagonist. The voice acting, which is fantastic in almost all regards, also maintains that generally lighthearted feel. Each voice character has a distinct and unique voice, and usually dialect, adding to the feel of an alive and diverse world. Though the voice actors certainly hammed it up a bit, it only adds to the charm and singular feel of Dragon Quest's world and helped to distance it from other games of its time. While often talked about the least, I found the story to be pristinely paced, surprisingly mature, when you consider that it references racism, non-human infanticide, animal abuse, torture, arranged marriages, plagues, and the list could go on. Though it did not aspire to bend the genre or subvert it, Dragon Quest VIII had wonderful settings and a strong thematic presence and was a challenging character-driven adventure. Each character slowly reveals important and life-altering events in usually very meaningful ways. The game also handled tonal shifts elegantly. It is simple, but that by no means is equivalent to bad or uninteresting. In Dragon Quest VIII, the player is allowed to explore a fully three-dimensional environment with towns and locations represented by more than the traditional two-dimensional icons on the map in previous titles. This world is an expansive one that incorporates plenty of various environments that are all breathtakingly presented. Battles are mostly random, with the occasional visible named monster that can be used in the monster arena, once unlocked that is. The monster arena is a minigame that involves capturing certain named enemies by defeating them and allowing them to join your monster lineup to participate in ranked fights and move up the ladder, which usually unlocks more options for captured critters, like having more than one team and some nice rewards. The player is also able to summon the team in a battle, which, though rare, was a nice tactic to use when facing tougher bosses. While the game retained the text-based elements of the combat menu screen from previous entries, there are some rather substantial visual changes. The game stays in the first person while selecting moves and transitions to third person as these selections are enacted, showing acted out moves and elaborate casting of spells to the player rather than simple slashes or magical effects on enemies. The options are straightforward in that you attack, use items, or use spells and abilities, but you can also use the Psych Up ability, which raises tension and allows the Psyched Up player to hit for considerably more damage. It was new to this series and helped differentiate the combat and added a fun and powerful layer of depth. Traditional experience points and gold are earned through battles, and as you level up you unlock and develop abilities, much like previous titles. What Level 5 added though, might have moved Dragon Quest VIII's combat from inevitable stagnation to a title that requires a lot of tactical preparation and party planning. Because while the mechanics are simple, deciding how to further specialize or broaden a character's area of expertise has immediate and long-lasting ramifications, especially considering the surfeit of post-game content and the uptick in difficulty. It was a secondary skill system with 3 different weapon skills, varying from character to character, fisticuffs, and a character-dependent attribute. Again, this added complexity and noteworthy decision-making to the combat. I don't think the hallmark of a solid turn-based system is having to study for hours to understand its intricacies, though that can be fun. But containing a certain level of depth that forces players to think about progression in addition to an easily understood foundation keeps players hooked and erases that dread felt by the series' penchant for grinding. Even if plenty of diversions exist and Metal Slime's work to keep grind sessions lower than expected by awarding large chunks of experience. But grinding doesn't feel as tedious in this world as in others. The beautiful, vast, and varied landscapes crammed full of treasures and fiends for the monster arena encourage player exploration. Even the crafting system, which was a perfect example of seamless and inventive implementation, can be accessed with ease and makes use of tons of the world's items and equipment. Towns also have a distinct feel from each other, and even if most serve as plot points with little distractions other than casino minigames or item hunting, they never felt replicated or tired. Add on a superb, fully orchestrated soundtrack that never fails to properly theme an area or enhance the mood, and it's one of the better worlds in all of the JRPG catalog. I get the oft-parroted complaints that it's grindy, childish, or that Toriyama's art has worn thin. Hard to fathom that criticism, but it is out there. The diversions do indeed seem a bit shallow at times, but they were seamlessly incorporated into the game's flow and world and strengthened it, constantly pushing the player deep into unexplored lands or spooky, but unfortunately straightforward dungeons. Dragon Quest VIII feels and plays like the quintessential turn-based RPG. The Nintendo 3DS version of Dragon Quest VIII was released in America earlier this year, and while I like the additions and smart alterations to gameplay, I prefer the PS2 version. However, you'll love the game no matter how you elect to experience it. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. My Twitter is also located right below the video. This has been Andrew with High Level Reviews, and I appreciate you guys stopping by.